Hello, this is just a quick help moment before we jump into it. This is about Witcher 3's language thing. If you go into the settings and go to language and audio, you will find that the Polish, Portuguese Brazil, and French audio language is not installed onto the game. Now, there is a prompt to hit square to install or download this content. This does not require internet. I want to provide this information quite clearly because the game kind of confusing when it says download. This is incorrect. It's more install, where if you click square on one of the languages you want, you can download or install it from the disk, and it does not require any internet. I will provide more proof at the end of this little segment here, so you can hear all the languages without ever me connecting to the internet. This is just to let you know. They probably shouldn't have said download. They should have said install. This will take up more hard drive space or SSD space, but in case you're somebody who understands Polish or French or Portuguese or Brazil, these languages are available and you do not need internet. This is just a quick help moment. You're going to hear the audio happen in game so that way you can fully 100% know you do not need internet, because I do test all my games, like I say, offline and do all the proper tests. So this was just a quick help moment so you can know this information. You do not need internet to download these audio languages. So again, we'll jump right into it.
Saudações.
Deixa eu dar uma olhada no seu estoque. Cuide-se.
Witajcie.
Rzucę okiem. Uważaj na siebie.
Bienvenue. Voyons ce que vous avez en magasin. Au revoir.
Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts with another unboxing, another offline product game review. This is The Witcher 3, the complete edition for the PlayStation 5. To jump right into it, this physical copy here just says it's just the base vanilla version of the game, so the on-disc version says 1.0. Now we know this obviously cannot be true, because at the time making this video, this does include all current release DLC and bonus content they have released all on disc. This includes the Heart and Stone DLC, the Blood and Wine DLC, the New Game Plus, as well as a slew of other extra content like New Game Plus, and so on and so forth. It even includes the most recent added content, the Netflix series, the TV series of The Witcher, armor and weapon set, and as well as a bonus little quest that involves that armor and weapons from the Netflix series. So that's all completely on disc. So this is the most complete package of DLC content and expansions all on disc. Now, while the game does say it's 1.0, I know this isn't true, because if you go into the save settings and you like load up a save or something like that, the game will tell you that this version on disc is 4.0. Now, sadly, there was an update available. This update size was 4.2 gigabytes big and will take you to version 4.20.00 version. And it's just what's called 4.20. And it is disappointing it has a ginormous update of around close to 5 gigabytes, but as I said, this does include the 4.0 version on disc and all current release expansions and DLC on the disc as well. Now, this was the first time I've ever played The Witcher, so I don't know every single little thing, it's all exactly added to new to the experience. But as I've always done, I play all my games completely offline with an unregistered account, and I was still unlocking trophies with my unregistered account, which is extremely nice. Now, I did 100% beat The Witcher 3. I did all the main campaign, I did all the side quests, I did the expansions, and so forth. And I pretty much did everything I could possibly could. I can't know if I found every single quest, because there are some ones you have to just find with a random exclamation mark. But I did play majority of the game. And while I did beat it, sadly my experience was not flawless. There were some issues. I'm going to jump into immediately the big one, and this is that the game locked up, and I don't know what happened. It corrupted my settings or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but every time I would quit the game and reload the game back up, it would forget all my settings. I don't know what's going on with that. It only happened when I finally got to the Blood and Wine DLC, but thankfully it wasn't throughout the entire game. But the game locked up, and I had to just force crash it, and then just basically X out of the game and reboot it back up. And then my settings would never save. I would anytime I quit the game, I would have to re-input my settings, which was a little annoying. But luckily, I kind of got the hang of it because after doing it so long, I kind of realized what settings I needed to turn on and turn off. But that was one of the bigger ones. Now, the game does have a performance mode and a ray tracing mode. Now, I play all my games on performance mode, and the game generally ran pretty darn good at 60 frames per second throughout the entire game in performance mode. Other than when you reach cities and towns and any area with a bunch of people and a lot of things like buildings and stuff, that's when sometimes frame rates could drop a little bit. As well as I did have a bug where there's a sword you get through a DLC that allows you to break people's shields. This bug happened where I would break people's shields, but the game would still think the enemy has a shield even though I knocked it off their hand, and therefore it would bug up and not like I was swinging at them and it wouldn't register that I was hitting them even though I wasn't staggering or they were staggering. The only way I was able to do damage to them, I had like set them on fire or do some ingy kind of thing to cause them to be confused. So that was a kind of a big bug there. I did have the game crash and lock up quite a number of times where it would like I'd say around 15 to 20 times throughout my entire experience that I had the game crash or lock up. As well as that, this was a quick bug, and you're going to probably notice this one immediately. This is an armor bug, where anytime you put on like a new armor or new outfit or new weapon, sometimes the inventory screen, the appearance of Geralt the Witcher, will bug out, where the screen will go all black, or Geralt's character will go all black. This is only in the inventory screen, and I don't know what causes it. It's going to be plagued throughout your entire experience, at least for me anyway. And that was the only biggest bugs and issues I had. There was probably some audio little issues here and there, but most of those were the bigger ones throughout my entire experience. So it is disappointing that my experience was not the most flawless, but I did 100% complete the game and beat it. My only best advice is that make sure you save often. Save every time you get a chance. Before you fight enemies, after you get done fighting an enemy, before you talk to an NPC, and after you get done with talking with an NPC. Constantly save it and have multiple saves available to you in case something happens, if a save gets corrupted or something like that. Kind of like how my settings got corrupted. I don't know what's how we'll go on that. Just be careful. Make backup saves. But as I said, this was my first time really sit down playing Witcher 3. And while there is a lot to love, there's a lot to hate. Throughout my entire experience of the game, there was many moments of awe and just exhilaration and fun and just enjoyment throughout the game, but as well as just as much frustration and boredom with the game. Now, most of the characters were really good, the gameplay was generally pretty darn good. There were just some hiccups, like the crafting system was annoying, riding the horse system was annoying, and then combat did get a little repetitive because every enemy basically just fall down to just step backwards, tack, 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 step backwards, tack, tack, step backwards. That's basically all I did throughout the entire game. As well as that, thankfully there's settings for this, but the camera was too close defaultly, so I had to change it to distance, which I don't know why that was not the default. As well as that there is a spell system in the game where then you have to open up this menu to equip every individual spell every time you want to use it. Thankfully in the settings you can turn on quick casting, where you no longer have to open up the menu to equip a spell. You can just immediately just hold R2 and pick one of the buttons and you can immediately cast it. That is gloriously much better than trying to play it any other way without the quick casting. Made the game actually at least somewhat enjoyable. But overall, it was alright. The game's graphics and gorgeous and the characters and stuff like that was really good. Story didn't really grip me, but the side quests were really good. I enjoyed the side quests more than the main quest, or even the expansion's main quests weren't very good. But the side quests were extremely good. But overall, it was a very decent. I mean, there were so many issues throughout the game, like upgrading your stats and stuff like that, or equipping skills. That stuff was really annoying. I don't know why you have to only equip a certain few amount of them. That was just frustrating in there. And just the overall like weapon dropping, having multiple gear with different stats. You can't equip certain armor unless you're a certain level. All these things were just frustrating with my experience. The horse was just infuriating to have to ride. Geralt is one of the worst sword fighters I've ever seen. When you do quick attacks, he does all these twists and spins and twirls. I don't know why I got so frustrated with Geralt. I kept saying, just swing the sword. Why do you got to do all these twirls? And just these slew of other things which just ruins the game for me. But story, voice acting, environments, and stuff like that are generally pretty good. And just certain other elements are just good. But there's just too much just wrong with Witcher 3 for me to really love it. As well as that, like, constantly putting potions and have to equip only 4 kind of potions, putting the oils and have to only be able to a couple swings. I got to the point where I was thankfully had ability allowed me to have unlimited oil on my sword, which that was just, I had to have that ability because it's just, there's so much wrong with Witcher 3. It's just, it blows my mind that it even was even categorized as Game of the Year. But it's still a fun game. It still works. It still functions. It still plays. Voice acting, characters, graphics, and all this stuff are engaging and interesting. It's just not for me. There was a lot of things that just was wrong, and it stacked up, and it just made the game more frustrating than enjoyed. But the few moments that I did have an enjoyment, like all the kinds of enemy variety, certain interactions, and certain kind of quests were very engaging, and the mystery involving and everything like that, and the characters, I mean, I keep bringing up the characters, but the characters were really good. Though I was really disappointed, there were moments in the game where they brought up characters I had no idea who they were. They were clearly characters I had to enjoy from the first or the second game, which I've never played those. Again, that's just more my fault. I mean, the game kind of expects you to have enjoyed the other characters since this is the third one. So they kind of have an expectation that you've played at least 1 and 2. It's frustrating that it is. I mean, hopefully we'll get like remasters or remakes of 1 and 2 so we can get a better idea. But overall, like, Witcher 3 was alright. I don't know what else to say. Again, the bugs didn't even really, as frustrating as they weren't even the biggest issues in the game. Now, I did play the game on the highest difficulty, Death Mount, I believe it's considered. And while I do believe it got a little annoying near the end, beginning of the game, near the end, it was still easy breezy. I got through it with the game. I highly recommend if you're anyone who's experienced with games or kind of hack and slash like Elden Ring and so forth, then you might want to jump on to immediately the highest difficulty. If I played this game on any lower difficulty, I don't know if I would have enjoyed myself in terms of the gameplay combat. But in the end, I'm glad I have this complete edition. I'm glad it's more updated. I'm glad it has all the DLC on the disc. It was disappointing to have that giant update, but I did play the game and 100% completed, and I did not need to download that update, which is extremely nice. So like always, I will try to leave links down in the description if you're interested in a copy. Hopefully this video was helpful for your offline gaming experience. And overall, man, it's not for me, but I can see why so many people loved it. It's not nowhere near Game of the Year in any category for me, but it's close. I can see the potential, but there was just so many flaws, so many annoyance game design that even at the time making this game, they should have known better and not done. But again, that's my personal viewpoint. Not everyone agrees with me, and that's perfectly fine. So again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next unboxing video. And it's P.S. Sorry this took so long. It's a big game, and I wish I knew how many hours I put in the game. It had to definitely be over 120 to 130 hours. So again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helps you, and I'll see you guys in the next unboxing video. Bye-bye!